You're listening to the Fatboy Show on your number one station, RX Radio, and it's Friday! Yay! I am so excited because Friday is the day that lets you know that rest and relaxation is around the corner. If you have been working hard through the week, you definitely deserve a break. You deserve to rest and, just enjoy some of the finer things in life, like some nice food, some nice movies. Maybe you might go and see the Black Panther 2. Have you watched Black Panther 2 yet?
Yes, I have.
Did you like it?
I did.
Some people said the first one was better.
No, I actually found this one to be better than the first one. Why?
Because the women were in charge.
No, I actually liked it because of the inclusion of the underwater people.
Really?
For me, that was the highlight of the movie.
Well, what I liked about the film is obviously because the main actor of the previous one, the Black Panther, the titular character, passed away. Obviously, they were going to have to make the film about what happens after, now that he's not there.
Yes.
And I think that allowed the film to explore the challenges of grief, coming to terms with loss, and rising to the occasion to take responsibility for the legacy that has been bequeathed to you, which the character of Shuri does.
Yes.
And I think it was handled fairly well.
I feel like the writers tried to be more creative because after the first one, I kept asking myself, so what now?
What now?
How do we go from here? Because you've already established that you're the most powerful. So where do we go now? And I like the fact that when these other guys came in, Wakanda could not match them.
But that also, and that to me actually reveals one of the biggest flaws about the entire concept of Wakanda, because much about Wakanda is mostly told and not shown.
Yes.
We keep being told they are the most developed technological country in the world.
But apart from Shuri's labs, we don't see it.
We don't see it. We don't see the technology in effect. And
we don't see the powerful army apart from a few generals.
Exactly. And then they're still fighting with spears. Because if a nuclear missile was fired at Wakanda, there's nothing about what we have seen from Wakanda that shows us that they could repel it.
They wouldn't.
Do you know what I mean?
It would catch them unawares. And I don't want to give spoilers, but isn't that the reason why one of the key cast members ended up dying? Because
exactly.
because when something more powerful came at them, they couldn't handle.
Well, they're going to have to do more work to explain some of the things that require explaining, because Wakanda is also presented as a bit of a utopia. You can't tell me, as an African, and as an African as you are, I'm sure you're aware that in this part of the world, politics is so dodgy and is so shady. There are always so many vested interests. You can't tell me that there wouldn't be factions within the country of Wakanda who would want to take over power, who are not happy with the distribution of resources, some people feeling that they are perhaps being subjugated. You can't tell me there are Wakandans who aren't saying, excuse me, we want to travel.
We want to travel. We want you to open up our country and see the world.
We want tourists in our country.
Yes.
You can't tell me everyone is on board with the agenda of the royal family who wants to keep it an isolated country.
Yes. I think writers, when they're writing, even if it is fiction, they need to root it in reality. You need to go back to the politics of the day, especially now that Wakanda is being shown as a today kind of movie.
Right.
So you need to go back and see, okay, how do we balance it? You don't just give us a story so that we so that we pretend that nothing else is happening, that the politics in this country is okay. There is no country in the world that has politics where there are no people, no contenders.
Right, because if what they were trying to depict was, let's say, a kingdom of some centuries ago, where you had absolute monarchies, then that showing Wakanda that way would make sense in that context. The way we watch Shaka Zulu and we don't ask ourselves why is there not a parliament?
Yes.
Or civil rights? Because we know that's how it was. But if you are presenting to us an advanced African country set in the modern day, and yet we are not seeing those same systems of government and social organization, we do not see civil society groups, we do not see activist groups. It just seems to me that, in watching the film, I felt like
it
sort of took me out. I could not really immerse myself into the world,
into that part
that I was being shown. So, and now that some outside countries are aware of the existence of Wakanda, again, in similar fashion to what happens in real life, why wouldn't they start funding rebel groups within Wakanda?
Okay.
Do you know, like selling weapons to maybe one of the rivaling factions?
Because if we know as a country, let's say Wakanda is Uganda, and we know we have vibranium that is being looked out at by every other country outside of Wakanda, we would want to partake of that national cake.
Exactly.
Just like we have oil, and everyone is like, I want to have a share in the oil.
You know, remember when that story came out about how Uganda had, I don't know, $12 trillion worth of oil and something like that. And so a lot of American political commentators, I saw one of them sort of taking a screenshot of that article and adding the caption that, hey guys, it's time for America to bring democracy to Uganda.
You see? You see?
So in other words, in just the way they did in Afghanistan and Iraq, why wouldn't they why wouldn't they start funding subversive groups within Wakanda who under the guise of human rights and democracy, let's have free and fair elections.
Maybe. Now I'm going out on a tangent here, but maybe the writers are trying to to be rooted in reality, but at the same time not to bore us too much with the day's politics.
Maybe that too. I can see, but then it would have made for a more compelling story if they included elements of real world politics. Maybe they will do that with the third film, which I am sure there will be a third.
And for me, that if there is a third, I just hope that Nakia is given some more screen time, because I felt that in this movie she didn't really feature so much, and she's one of the major cast members.
And as Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes.
And every time she was on screen, I felt like the film came alive.
Yeah.
And, someone was saying this on Twitter, and I also noticed, I don't know if she has been doing squats, but her butt is like all over the place. What's going on?
Oh, God. You had to go there and be a guy.
The time she wore the bodysuit as she was about to
enter
the ocean.
Yes.
And she's standing at the beach.
Yes.
And so you see a silhouette, her figure. You're like,
She said she was to practice for that underwater scene. She was lifting weights and walking like on the floor of a swimming pool.
Really?
So probably that also contributed. Look at Fatboy. I want to know one person that doesn't find that woman extremely beautiful, because to me, that girl is beautiful.
She's hot, eh?
She's hot.
And she spent some time here in Kampala. She was at one of these Maisha film labs.
Yes.
So you could have easily passed her by on the streets and not known
who she was. Yeah, she blends in so well.
Right? But anyway, it's definitely a film to watch, and it's doing gangbusters at the box office, and it is basically presenting itself as a kind of a tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman, and I think it does a good job of that.
I love the way they did the tribute. They didn't try to fake us into, like, they left the truth as what it was. He was suffering from a long illness. They didn't touch that. I like the way they did it.
Yeah. Although some people say they should have changed the character and made a new guy be the Black Panther altogether.
But he
still
had
as
a
T'Challa.
sister.
Yeah. But anyway, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, showing in theaters near you. Check out the film and let us know what you think about it. You're listening to The Fatboy Show on RX Radio.